You can't build anything, much less a relationship, if you haven't established your foundation. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? I'm Christopher Markland, and welcome to my review slash analysis slash commentary, all of the above, of episode 5 of season 10, Ready to Love Philadelphia. As always, I don't go scene for scene, line for line, bar for bar of the show that we've already watched, but instead I use the events on the show, the people on the show, the situations on the show, and just talk about them and how they reflect on us in our real world dating experiences, relationships, all of that good stuff.
And Francisco expressed to me that he didn't own a car. And then I was like, well, you got your own place, right? And he just was like, no, not right now. I'm in a room right now.
They got right into it. Yo, I appreciate Cisco's honesty. I appreciate his vulnerability. However, the name of the show, the premise of the show is Ready to Love. The key word, the operative word is ready. At the end of the day, you cannot be ready to love, much less ready to date, if you don't have certain things, certain foundational things in order. Now, it's one thing to not have a car. I'll touch on that in a second. But at the bare minimum, you got to have your own place, a real place. Now, I get it. He's renting a room, and I guess that kind of sort of counts, but it's not the same. If you live in a major area, let's talk about the transportation. If you live in a major area, I'm in Atlanta, whether you're in Dallas, LA, Miami, Chicago, whatever the case may be, they're in Philadelphia. You can kind of sort of get around with, Uber or some kind of ride share or even public transportation. Kinda. It's going to be difficult to date. It's going to make an already difficult thing when it comes to dating and, modern dating. However, you got to, at a minimum, have your own place. Now, I understand he's renting a room, so, but it's still not the same as having your own space.
If you're not where you need to be financially, then how can we talk about marriage? I kind of was like, I can't do this right now.
So I've been having conversations with different friends of mine, and one topic that we were discussing is what we call the exit ramp. So what that is, and I want you to think about, a past relationship that you may have had as well, where you knew that the person was cool, good conversation, they were attractive, whatever, but you knew that there was something about them. It may be their situation, whatever the case may be. They may have still been, had a significant other that they were, whatever the case is, but you knew in your gut, or the woman's intuition, whatever, you knew that that person was not a good fit for you. That situation at the time would not be a good fit for you, your lifestyle, whatever the case may be. This is Tay's exit ramp moment right here. She knows, okay, Cisco's cool. She finds him attractive, all of that stuff. However, she knows the path that she wants for her life. And quite honestly, Cisco's living situation is not a good fit for her. So she has the option of either staying the course or exiting and going in a different direction. This is her point in time right now for her to make that decision. We're watching it in real time, and we're all saying the same thing, or at least I'm saying that. I'll say it. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. It's not a good fit.
I've been married before. The divorce happened when I came back to Philadelphia, and I was at my lowest, struggling to find work and just, struggling to get back on my feet.
Whew. I have been there. Lord knows I relate to Cisco's struggle. That feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of failure, that feeling of just loneliness, all of those things. And as you look back at the past relationship that you're coming out of, and you look at your present situation and like, dear God, and then you look towards your future and you're wondering, okay, am I ever going to get myself back on my feet? Am I ever going to find love in another relationship? And it's all kinds of negative feelings, negative emotions. I understand what Cisco's going through, but the only advice I can give to that man or any other brother that's going through that is to stop, take a second, get yourself situated before you try to get back out there.
That's how I determine what cologne I want to buy my man. If I can smell it and it turn me on, I'm like, yes, because I can smell him.
Tell me everything that turns you on.
There's something about Cam, I can't really put my finger on it. And it's not just him. It's a couple other people on the show where they have my spidey sense tingling. It's not necessarily good or bad, but it's just something about them that just, I don't know. It's got me. Anyway, To Cam's point, what he asked her there, I 100% agree with. You do need to know what that person that you're interested in, what their turn-ons are, what their turn-offs are. And it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual, but it does help. I mean, you need to know. You need to know those different things, what makes them tick. But honestly, the question that he asked is valid.
With me and Rock, even though she read me her poetry, we really didn't go too much further than surface. So as dope as a woman she may be, I don't feel like it went past the friend zone.
When you're not interested, you're just not interested. And quite honestly, you can see Naeem, but actually, I don't think she's gotten any real looks or has any real connection with any of the men. She's cool with them, and it's almost like they're moving around her in order to establish other connections. As far as I'm concerned, her and Sahara are really the same. They're like neck and neck, or just personality wise, they are essentially the same type of grading personality. At least for me, it's just something about them.
My financial situation, not having no car, living in a room, like I feel like the spark and the connection that was there in the beginning is fading.
Bruh, of course it's fading. It's a cruel world that we live in. However, that's the reality of the world that we live in, is that if you're in your 30s, your 40s and up, you have to have the basics under your belt. You got to have at a minimum your own place. You can get by without a car, fine, but you got to have at least your own place. And honestly, it's not really about you having those things per se, but more what it is you don't have those things, what that represents. That doesn't represent stability. That doesn't represent any type of comfort that you can then give to someone that you're bringing into your life. Before you date, before you try to find love, before you do any of those things, you have got to establish yourself, establish your space before you can bring somebody into it.
I'm 42 years old. When I got out of my relationship in Virginia, I experienced homelessness, had to come back home. Mom Duke's not really messing with me.
I make it a point to not go too deep into my relationships, because at the end of the day, one is private, and two, it's not just me involved. There's other people in their privacy, all of that good stuff. However, I will say this. I can definitely relate to his situation. As a relationship ends, there's a feeling that you deal with, and that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of failure, as you look around and watch the dust settle and you try to figure out, okay, what are the next steps in my life, all of that good stuff. Also, as you're trying to rebuild your life, y'all, I've owned a home but still damn near been homeless as we're trying to sort all of the specifics out. I thank God for my mother, who it's hell, and I understand what he's saying as he's trying to you know go through a failed relationship and trying to get back on his feet. I will say this to all the brothers out there: as you are working to get things back together, get your life back on track, therapy, therapy, therapy. You have to deal with that baggage, all of the feelings and all of that stuff before you can move forward. Take care of that, deal with the past before you can move forward and deal with your future.
I truly have connected with this woman in a very deep level. Once she's pulling away, it's gonna kind of make me just wanna disappear as well.
Sometimes you have got to step back away from dating, step back away from pursuing relationships, all of that, and go into what they call monk mode. As a man, you've got to have your shit together. And Lord knows, women are a beautiful distraction, especially when you're lonely, especially when you just need company. You want somebody there to keep you company, to all of that good stuff. However, there are times you don't need that distraction, especially when you are 42 years old, I think is how old he said he was, and you don't have your stuff together.
Your story is gonna help somebody else get through their bro. All that weight, all them plates you keep putting on the bar, that's God placing that weight on. That's God, bro. Bench that, bro. Bench that, bro.
I love that right there. I love seeing men, especially black men, helping each other, reaching out to each other, encouraging each other, lifting each other up. I definitely want to give Cisco credit for being vulnerable, for reaching out, for being, open and saying, "Hey, man, this is a situation," and allowing Naeem to be that friend, to be that partner to say, "Yo, bro, you good?" Every man at one point or another has felt the weight of the world just crushing him, and yeah, we're supposed to be stoic and just, you shut up and just take it. But Lord knows it is a lot. And one thing my father always taught me was that no man is an island, right? You're not by yourself, but the only way you can get help is if you ask for it. So I appreciate seeing these two men come together, encourage each other, lift each other up. Man, I love seeing it.
Being accepted.
Yo, I needed that book too. So now you already know, bro. You already know.
That's why we lock.
Quiet as it's kept, stuff like that happens more often than not. I know in my group chat with my dudes, we're always talking to each other, lifting each other up, and also just on one-on-one, call each other up and it's like, yo, man, this is a situation. Hey, what do you think of this? And we hold each other accountable. It's like, yo, bro, you're a dumbass. Why the hell would you do that? And just like what happened there, it's like, no, bro, you good. You made a mistake. Try this course of action. Why the hell did you do that? All of that good stuff. It happens more often than not. I get it. It could probably be more. Sure, you got the quote unquote toxic masculinity and all of that. But when it comes to black men helping each other, being there for each other, yeah, it happens a hell of a lot more than we're given credit for.
No, I ain't the jealous type. I'm aware. That's all. I'm aware.
Yeah, Cam might not be jealous per se, but he's definitely territorial. And, that's probably the hardest part. If I was ever going on the show, the hardest part for me would be to see someone that I have a connection with interacting with another person that they have a connection with. But that's the premise of the show. That's what the show's about. I know it'll be hard for me to do, but who knows? I mean, they're doing it. I will say this though. Yes, he says he's aware, but I think he also needs to be aware that Rose is seeing what he's seeing as well and watching how he's interacting.
I did enjoy the kiss with Fritz.
I didn't see that coming.
I really just was in the moment and the energy was just there.
So another conversation that I was having was we were talking about kissing, and we both were in agreement that kissing is actually more intimate than sex. Sex is sometimes it's just an act. You got an itch that needs scratching and it's like, all right, you do what you do. However, kissing is a much more intentional way of displaying intimacy. It's a much more deliberate connection. And just like Shanice said right there, when the moment is right, you just got to do it.
You gonna do this?
Do what? Girl, push your phone away. I'll get your number.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right. What you doing? I bag you, you don't bag me.
Ooh.
I'm not mad at that right there. We've seen on, I want to say, at least 2 occasions where Angie has pressed. Angie has been the one that's taking the lead. And I like the fact that Cam was like, nah, we're not going to do that. Sometimes you have got to set the tone and you've got to be like, yo, no. Because how you start is how things are going to proceed. And I like the way that he asserted himself. It's like, no, you ain't bagging me. No, we're not doing that. Because if Angie, I guess, she's a very strong woman. And if you don't, as a man, establish that, it's gonna lead to problems.
When you're trying to elevate and come up in life and doing everything like that, it takes dedication, it takes focus. Like when you think about whatever your major accomplishments was, right? Did you do it by yourself or did you do it with someone else?
It takes dedication, it takes focus. It also takes dedication and focus to get a relationship off the ground and then to build it and to make it grow. Now, to me, the question isn't whether or not, his accomplishments in his past were by himself or with someone. That's his past. The real question that she needs to be looking at is his present situation. Those questions that she needs to ask. How long have you been in this situation where, you're still getting your car and your home situation squared away? How long do you think you'll be in this current situation? What are your future plans and how are you looking to build and to get, I don't want to say back on your feet, but to get things going? That is way more important than how he did certain things in the past. Again, this is her moment, her exit ramp, and you can tell that she's getting sucked right back in.
Rocky is gonna tell her as it is. Like, she's gonna speak her mind. And she's kind of loud.
So you feel like you really are ready for one person, you are ready for love?
Yeah, no thanks. That loud shit gets old real quick. And the older you get, the less you got time to deal with that. Every man wants peace. And yeah, you can't get that peace if you have a non-peaceful woman. Again, to me, Rocky and Sahara are the same type of personality. And honestly, just looking at it, that's not what Fritz wants. I'm really curious as to why he keeps entertaining both women and being in situations with both women when it's obvious that that's not the kind or the type of personality of the woman that he is attracted to.
All that poly
Are you looking for somebody to go along with you in your polyamorous situations? Are you looking for a partner to join you in polygamy?
Dear God, that is exhausting. She are they even having a conversation? Because she is just talking about one thing and he's saying something different, and it's almost like she's just talking to hear herself talk. Yo, I need someone that I can communicate with, and that type of personality, that type of person that is just loud but still ain't saying shit would get on my damn nerves.
No.
I didn't like the fact that Coley and Eddie are hooked up and getting super close because to me that's disrespectful.
I wholeheartedly agree with Angie. I mean, just the fact that you have Coley and Eddie there engaged in intimacy, I get it. It's a little bit, it's a higher closeness, but I mean, no one should be doing anything intimate while, like I said, I understand that that's the premise of the show. It's difficult to see someone that you have a connection with being intimate in any way, be it holding hands or cuddled up in a corner with somebody that you have a connection with. But that, honestly, since they've been talking about the whole polyamory thing, that is by definition a polyamorous situation that they all find themselves in. Poly meaning many or multiple, amorous is love. Now, I get it, they're not in loving, they don't have love per se, but they are forming connections, and you're going to have many connections. That is polyamory. Now, I know that the ultimate goal is for them to narrow it down to a monogamous situation. I understand. You know, I'm being a little bit funny, but you see what I'm saying. It's that's what it's about. You have many connections, then you narrow it down to one.
You ain't kiss. You scared?
Turn around.
No.
First of all, as a Jamaican man, I need a big body woman. I don't need no skinny. Excuse me. That is not my cup of tea, but hey, Eddie likes it. Cool. I will say though, on that situation, that is cringe to say the least. It's one of those things where if you got to ask, then you already know the question. We saw what happened with Shanice and Fritz, where there wasn't any, hey, can I? It was, they felt it, and you know, in fact, Shanice felt it. She leaned in, gave him a kiss. Fritz received it, and you know, they ain't swap spit or nothing like that. But you know, that was an intimate moment. There, it just looks like, you know, Eddie was like, oh, and she just kept pressing. It wasn't a cute situation at all.
I want to put your connections to a test with a little game. All right? This going to help us find out how well you ladies think you know these men.
So Tommy has a game for the couples, and we've seen this before in previous seasons where, you know, they ask each other questions and so forth and so on. And also you've seen it on different shows as well. I know at Married at First Sight, they did something similar. They had a couple games, in fact, where, you know, the couples use that to break the ice and to, you know, form those connections. So it's kind of cool. It's something that I think I'm going to start doing in my dating life if I can, you know, ever get on some dates.
I was already with somebody, so when I got the phone call, it was just like, hey, ride with me, I'll go pick the body up. But we was so turned that we just took it right into the funeral home.
As a real estate agent, I've heard stories and legends, chronicles, allegedly, of real estate agents who have access to houses and things have happened in those houses. I'm just shocked that that kind of stuff would happen. I mean, allegedly. I get what Naeem's saying right here. You know what? Sometimes when the mood strikes you or whatever, and you know, wherever you are, and when you're with the right person, Yo, stuff just goes down. And like you said, it's when you lit, you just gonna do what you do. I get it, allegedly. I understand.
This man's fantasy is having sex in an Uber.
Wow.
I'm with Fritz on that one because that right there is also it's one of my bucket list items. That's something I definitely want to do one of these days. We all have our thing, and that's why having the right person that as your partner, someone that you're compatible with, someone that you can have fun with and do all kinds of wild and crazy shit with, it goes a long way. That compatibility is real. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you happen to be a lady Uber driver, send me an email at author Christopher Mark.
Who's licking?
The correct answer is Khalil.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Listerine. If you like eating ass or tossing salads, then Listerine is what you need in order to get your mouth minty fresh. To each their own. We listen and we don't judge. Hey, he likes what he likes, and if that's what Khalil likes, I'm here for it. Again, that's where having a compatible partner comes in, two consenting adults doing what they do. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but if he likes it, I love it. Do your thing, bro.
When this opportunity first started, the intention that some people came in with this is not what I came in with. I was playing.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this one out. He said that when he first came on the show, he wasn't taking it as serious as he should have been. Okay, fine. He came on there, figured, you know what, I'll try something new. It might as well have been like a new restaurant to him. He figured, you know what, I see what's on the menu. Wasn't that serious. But then he came on and was like, yo, now he's taking it seriously. And that shows because he has a connection with Shanice. So I'm trying to understand why this is such an issue for Sahara and why she's reacting the way that she is.
Playing in my face this whole time. When I called you out about playing in my face this whole time, you was pretending like you wasn't playing in my face this whole time. So right now, I'm kind of upset.
Bat shit crazy. Good Lord, that is about the only way I can describe that. I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about, what she's so upset about, and the cut and paste or copy and paste, whatever. Y'all, this season has been an interesting one. I'll reserve that for the end of the season. But so far, it's like there's some people on there that I'm just scratching my head, and I'm like, man, Philly, come on, Philly, come on.
Who are you not connecting with?
Y'all gonna help me get Sahara out of here?
So Cam took issue with Fritz's comment, and I get it. It was a flip comment, and if you have a connection with somebody, and it looked like Fritz was making a joke, doesn't matter. Fritz said what he said, and Cam reacted accordingly. I can understand why Fritz said what he said, because based on that date with Sahara, and for the life of me, I'm trying to understand why she even invited him, being Fritz, on a date. And anyway, I can understand why Fritz said what he said and is trying to get rid of her, because it's one thing to not have a connection, but the energy that is there, yeah, I'd want that gone too. So the men have the power this week, and after coming out Tommy's vault, the three women that are up for elimination are Coley, Sahara, and Raquel. Honestly, I am not surprised at all, because think about it. Two of the three women have been up for elimination before. So it shows that even though they've both gotten second chances, they still are getting the same result, the same outcome, meaning that the men have gotten to know them even better, and they still aren't necessarily building connections that the men want to see continue.
I'm hearing you fighting for me. Like, what are you fighting against? Like, what's going on in here?
Somebody was like actively trying to lobby to get you out.
Yo, this ain't cool at all. One, why is she hearing about men fighting for her in one way or another? And two, why is he talking about what was discussed in the vault? Now, I get it. You can come out the vault and say, hey, the men feel this kind of way. But what he did right there, he being Cam, was like, yo, the men is this, and then was talking about, they're intimidated by you and all that other nonsense. I've said it before. Whenever I hear a woman say that a man is intimidated by her, it's usually her using that word intimidating to cover up her bad behavior. I don't quite understand why they're coming out of the vault. So either somebody's talking to her, on the phone and letting her know what's being discussed in the vault, and then also Cam right here is talking about the conversation that they had in the vault. The way I look at it is this: if dudes decide they want to go to blows in the vault, it needs to stay there, like Tommy said. But if you're coming out of the vault and either talking on the phone, texting, or communicating, hey, this is what was said and this is what they're doing, or you're there with the women saying, yo, this guy said this, and no, that is a recipe for disaster. There's a reason why you got to leave what happened in the vault, because it's going to turn into a messy situation no matter which way you slice it. So we're going to have to tune in next week to see which two of the three ladies got eliminated. I think I know who the two are, but we'll see for sure. As always, y'all, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll be alerted every time I drop a new video. My 3 books, Desperately Seeking Exclusivity, Desperately Seeking Pleasure, and Desperately Seeking Clarity, are available for sale right now. Visit my Amazon page, or you can order your electronic version on Kindle, Nook, whichever device you may have. Follow me on Instagram at Christopher_Markland and on Facebook at author Christopher Markland. So this was an interesting episode, no doubt about that. What do you think of the 3 ladies that are up for elimination? Do you think that they chose the right 3, or do you think maybe it should be someone else? Of the 3 that they did chose, which 2 do you think are going to be eliminated? And do you think that, which one of the men, because normally they do the flip-flop, who do you think is going to be eliminated next week? Do you agree with Cam, or do you agree with Fritz with the whole dust up that they had in the vault? Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section below. As always, hey, I appreciate y'all joining me. Look forward to seeing y'all next week. Have a good one.